Awesome. All right, we have a lot to cover today, so we're going to jump into it. And as people start to trickle in, they can catch up with us. So thank you to all that have joined us today. Welcome to our HubSpot User Group webinar. Today's topic is going to be very interesting for everyone that sits in sales and marketing, RevOps, anywhere in between. So today we're going to be talking about HubSpot AI and how AI and HubSpot work together to power B2B growth. So this is part of our HubSpot user group for those that are not familiar, which is called AI and Automation in Sales and Marketing. So if you are not already a member there, we will briefly chat about how you can be in just a moment. But I'm here today with three great, amazing companies. We have Evenbound joining us today, HubSpot, and Mobileforce. I am Geraldine. It's nice to meet all of you. I am an account strategist at Evenbound, and I am joined by my co-host today, Nick Natali, who is the Director of Marketing over at Mobileforce. But just a few quick housekeeping items today before we jump into a super exciting conversation. But throughout the variation of this call, please feel free to use the Q&A feature here in Bevy with any comments or questions you may have. Our participants will take a look at those and either answer you directly there, or we'll have some time at the end for our Q&A section where we will answer those live and hear from one or multiple of our speakers there. So with that, though, I'm going to throw it over to Nick to get us started with an icebreaker.
Hey everyone, thanks Geraldine. So while we kind of wait for some more folks to jump in, let's do a quick chat icebreaker. We're talking a lot about AI today. So I just want to know where everyone is at in this AI journey, and just throw a 1 through 4 in chat. Early adopter, meaning you're already experimenting, is a number 1, and 4 being, I don't even want to touch AI, I'm just here to learn.
Awesome. Okay, well, as you guys are putting your answers in the chat, thank you for that. Also, I just previously mentioned that this is also part of our HubSpot user group. So this is where we have roughly 300 plus HubSpot community members joined together on LinkedIn, where we share updates and insights, previous Hub recaps. You'll find our recording and resources from today there. Also, just to call out that every speaker you're going to hear from today is also a participant in that group. So if there are any questions following today's conversation, feel free to head over there and ask away there. Happy to continue the conversation there. But I will post that link for where you can join us here in the chat in just a few.
All right, so Geraldine and I are here to be kind of the MCs, but these are the real rock stars of the show. So we have Shane Torrey, the Director of Client Experience from Evenbound, joining us today. Aaron Schmaltz, Senior Professor at HubSpot, and John Garza, Chief Growth Officer at Mobileforce. And these are the folks you'll be hearing from for the majority of the presentation today.
Awesome, looking forward to it.
And just a quick agenda. We don't want to spend too much time in here. We want to get right into the thick of it. So we've already gone through some introductions, and we're going to go talk about from chaos to clarity, where Shane will be covering that section. Then we're going to get into how AI connects with sales and marketing. We'll hear from Aaron from the HubSpot side, and then John at Mobileforce will be closing the loop on how to connect all those AI features and bring them into a quoting process.
Awesome. Okay, and then one of the last points on our agenda that you just saw is referencing this playbook. So one of the biggest takeaways for you today is going to be this. We're not just going to be showing you the strategy of what our speakers are talking about today, but we're actually going to give it to you. So everything we'll cover today, from AI-powered selling to automated quoting, comes straight from the process we've refined here at Evenbound with partnership with Mobileforce. So this guide helps B2B teams turn HubSpot AI, smart workflows, and quoting automation into measurable revenue growth. So we're calling this the B2B automation roadmap, steal the strategy that sells. So following conversation today, this will be in your inbox. You have full access to it. It also highlights a few client success stories and specific metrics and tangible takeaways for you guys to take with and run with, to implement within your team, to hopefully see that manageable and revenue growth within your operations. So like I said, you will have that here in your inbox here momentarily. Also, we like to start these conversations with just a recent quote that we've heard from an industry expert within the realm of AI and automation. Last time we talked about how AI transformation isn't coming. It's already here. And the real question is whether you're going to be left behind or lead the charge. So I want to continue on that momentum today and build off of that in regards to how AI is becoming a coworker, an intelligent teammate that learns, scales, and grows, and gets work done with us. So this was a quote from Yamini at the recent 2025 Inbound event in San Francisco, and how she talked about how AI will become one of our coworkers, not just a tool, but an intelligent teammate. So I just want you guys all to think about that and have that in the back of your head as we navigate today's conversation, and just think about and brainstorm on how these new AI teammates can help your brand build trust, some smoother handoffs, and then finally connect every part of your revenue process. So with that, I'm super excited and honored to throw it over to Shane, who is my Director of Client Experience at Evenbound, who is going to show you guys how we put all of this into action. So Shane, let me stop sharing and I'm going to throw it over to you.
Thanks, Geraldine. All right, let me get my screen going. I assume you can see it, so it should be good to go. Hey everyone, I'm the Director of Client Experience here at Evenbound, coming in with over 11 years experience in marketing and sales automation and enablement. If you don't know, Evenbound is actually the largest HubSpot consulting partner in Michigan, where we blend together strategy and technical expertise to help businesses go to market. So I think we've been doing this for quite a while. We're really excited to see a lot of the advancements here in HubSpot with the rise of AI to help us help clients even further, right? So one of the first things I want to do, yes, another poll. Tell me what manual process you think your team can automate just a little bit better. If you're thinking 1, being your marketing campaigns and lead qualification, drop that in. Give me a 2 if you think your sales pipeline progress could use some more automation. Give me a 3 if you think it's customer service responses and info sharing, or 4 if you think data cleanliness is what you want to automate more. I'll let people keep dropping that into the chat, but I'll keep the show rolling. So one of the major problems that we run into, let's face it, large companies have problems getting things going. Marketing to sales handoff is a task that no one really wants to touch, and there's endless back and forth between teams deciding on, is it marketing's fault or is it sales' fault that leads maybe aren't making their way through? So lead routing can be very manual. If there's a high volume of leads, it can just be a very overwhelming feeling to try to figure out who does this need to go to. It can be a bottleneck nightmare, honestly. So if a prospect sits for too long, you'll find that they lose their patience, and we're in a world where instant gratification is a thing. They're going to move on, right? So we have to do what we can do to get a prospect interested. Let's say that they are interested in our services. Then we go through a couple of sales conversations. It comes time to actually put together a quote. That process could also take forever. If you're thinking through like, oh, this is a very customizable quote, we need to get it just right, and maybe you send over one iteration, it isn't quite what you want it to be, you have to go back and revise. That process, going back and forth over and over again, is very drawn out, but it doesn't necessarily have to be drawn out. The longer the things take, the more chances a prospect can walk away or ghost you if things just take too long. And then finally, data can be very incomplete. So I know a lot of companies will just focus on, hey, are we closing deals? Are we getting revenue? But there's a big gap underneath where if you're not paying attention to some of the underlying health metrics for your sales pipeline, you're going to have a lot of leaky revenue. And hopefully the framework that we're going to walk through today will actually show you how you can find some of that leaky revenue and fix it and bring some of that money back into your company. The framework here really is predict, prioritize, perform, improve. So this guide, again, Geraldine mentioned that we have a mini playbook that we hope you steal. We're going to walk through these 4 elements of a framework where predict is how we're going to learn how using AI can tell us more about our prospects. Prioritize will actually get them through to the right place at the right time. Perform is how we actually delight them with a timely proposal that fits their needs and makes them feel like we heard them. And then prove is how we really measure all this stuff. First up here with predict. So if you do have Marketing Hub Enterprise, you can use HubSpot's AI to identify ICPs and scoring contacts accordingly. This is something that actually one of my team members had covered in a previous Hug event. And you can use, if you're familiar with the more manual lead scoring, you can use AI to just simply say, hey, here's where people are starting at. So for example, subscriber and lead stages, we want to get them to the point where they're sales qualified. Take a look back at the past 120 days. And then HubSpot will use AI to figure out the different path points that people have taken to get to that point. In this case, again, being an SQL, and it can help score your contacts accordingly. So you don't have to go through a whole manual matrix to figure out exactly which meaningful touch points need 5 points or 10 points or something like that. AI can just do this all for you. So having company level data, being industry information, revenue data, their tech stack, and really good contact level data like job title, buyer role, all the marketing engagements, that's the kind of stuff that can help these AI scores work more effectively. So let's say you do have a really good scoring system in place. Now you need to get workflows that will actually put people in the right spot. So smart workflows can use territory information or other company characteristics that will automatically assign and route ownership of the company and contact that need to go to the correct owner. As long as you don't have too many nuances in your process, it's something that AI can really help you do. And once leads are assigned, you want to make sure that you're setting up the right notifications and potentially even taking the next step to get some tasks in place where someone takes the next action, getting people into a sequence, or one of my favorites that I'll show you in just a second is actually getting people into the prospecting agent, which can do some of that stuff on your behalf. So I'll show you this thing in action. A lot of you here might have a workflow that's similar to this, and if you don't, definitely feel free to clone or copy this kind of format. So if you have, let's say, a contact with a high engagement score and a high fit score, and in this case, I'm also going to say that their lifecycle stage is subscriber or lead. Once all those conditions are met, then we can move them officially into being an MQL. Let's say in our super simple process here, we want to target, if they're in the Midwest, they're going to go to our CEO here, John. If they're not in the Midwest, they go to Steven. And if none of this stuff is met, they would go to me. We can assign the contact ownership, immediately send a Slack notification that they have a new contact, and then we can start the prospecting agent. So in this scenario, a lot of people, again, I mentioned you might set up a task or maybe enroll people into a manual sequence. I really like the idea of doing the prospecting agent because you can have different agents set up for if it's like cold prospecting, which wouldn't really be this case because we're qualifying people already through marketing. They're already very familiar with who we are. So maybe a more like warm agent trying to get them into a meeting would be beneficial here. You can set up this agent to take a look at all the historical information about their company, even taking a look at recent news, and take a look at that contact specifically that just got scored pretty highly. And we'll look at what's all their marketing engagement, which pages on the website have they been visiting, and can actually curate a very customized and personalized sequence that should help them move to the next stage to actually book a meeting with you, which is the end goal, right? So let's also say in this scenario that maybe this is too simple of a structure and you have a couple of nuances, it can be a little bit more complex. You could also consider when you're building a workflow through this very handy AI feature here to add a custom data agent prompt, and you could add in whatever context makes sense. So if you want to have certain people based on job title go to, let's say, one person in a specific region, you can use the AI agent to kind of help filter some of that stuff and then get people to where they need to go. So I definitely recommend that you test this first before just rolling it out because AI is not perfect, but as long as you have really good data, really good context in your CRM, you should be in a good spot to maybe use that if you do have a more complex system. All right, so I'm going to bring it back here. Let's say that you have already been going through the sales process. Things are pretty good. We've had a couple of meetings, and now it's time to actually put together that quote. So a lot of deals can die in the quoting process because of back and forth, human error, and things of that nature. We can use automated quoting to get things through the quote stage as quickly as possible. And this is where Mobileforce can speak through how they integrate with HubSpot and how CPQs can really cut down on the time and the errors to ensure that a prospect really feels that you understand what they're looking for and that they are your priority. Automating all this stuff is very beneficial. Again, using Mobileforce, we can keep everything here in HubSpot so you don't have multiple systems all over the place. That way you can actually have your forecasting in one spot. It's very clear what's going on, and ultimately you should be able to use this to close more of those opportunities. The last thing I'll share here as a part of the framework is Prove. So we already have some dashboards that can track how long like leads sit, or average response times, maybe even identifying which leads are sitting in various stages. And what I just recommend is that, we know that attribution can be a pain. Figuring out if we can add different dashboards or reports to show which contacts, or let me say which sources are leading to people getting through the quote stage a little bit faster. You can build all these different things out. You can customize it, and you can even use HubSpot's AI reporting to help get a good starting point for you. So definitely use dashboards to showcase your sales cycle length, where deals are stalling, which lead sources, again, are driving the most quotes and won deals. And in our playbook, we'll have a couple of recommended KPIs that we think you should use in your dashboard. So I've listed a couple here. One additional one would be taking a look at when that quote was created and the time between it's created to closed won, and you can figure out what are the conditions in which maybe we're able to move things really fast, or if things are stalling out and maybe not moving as fast as we had hoped. Can we analyze that and correct it by analyzing different situations? So I'll part you with this one. We do have a real client success story. We've worked with a company, Sealbond. They're an adhesive and sealant coating business. When we first worked with Sealbond, they didn't really have a good process in place at all. Very reliant on cold calling, didn't have a CRM or a really good marketing strategy. So our first approach was that we helped implement HubSpot, stand up a lot of these systems to capture contacts, qualify them through marketing activity and lead scoring, route them to the appropriate person on the team, and get people moving through the funnel. So before, they had a very kind of fragmented process. They had a lot of different systems using Salesforce even. By getting off of Salesforce and putting everything in one spot, we were able to actually help create a pretty solid system here and create over $2.6 million in revenue just based on the system that we collaborated with them on. So this stuff really does work. I think I kind of touched the surface on what you can do with HubSpot's AI. So I actually want to turn it over to Aaron to give us a more in-depth look about some of HubSpot's new AI superpowers.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Aaron. I'm a senior professor here on HubSpot Academy. I'm based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, so shout out to all my Third Coast folks here. So what Evenbound just showed, a connected strategy, is exactly what HubSpot AI is built to power, right? We're bringing all of your revenue tools into one place so teams can move from reacting to predicting. So quick little poll here. If HubSpot AI could take one task off of your plate, what would it be? Writing follow-up emails, prioritizing leads, forecasting deals, or building reports? Feel free to throw your numbers in the chat here. Would love to hear a few of you respond. Awesome. As you're ruminating a little bit, let's talk about the modern challenge here. When marketing, sales, and ops use different systems, alignment breaks. And so does your buyer experience. HubSpot's AI connects the dots, helping your team see what's working and predict next steps and act faster. One system means one truth, unified data, automated handoffs, and measurable revenue from first touch to final quote. Most teams don't fail because of bad data, so that could be a contributor. They fail because their systems don't talk. HubSpot's approach to AI focuses on connection, connecting your tools, your data, and your team so every action drives measurable impact. With that said, I promise I'll get to demoing a few of these tools here. Let's talk about how marketing and sales teams actually connect using HubSpot's AI tools, starting with marketing. Marketing Studio, if you haven't had a chance to dive into yet, is where it all begins. This is your visual campaign canvas. You give it an idea and it maps out an entire multi-channel strategy using everything it knows about your business. So no more jumping between tools or copying context. The AI campaign assistant is also super helpful. It helps you generate content that actually knows your business, your customers, your value props, your brand voice. It's not generic AI content. It's actually specified to your content. And then kind of in the background here, your brand voice, your brand identity ensures everything stays consistent. One voice across all campaigns, all channels, all content. This is how small teams create at enterprise scale. And the most powerful part here, as Shane kind of alluded to earlier, predictive lead scoring ties this all together. It learns from your closed won deals, it identifies patterns you might miss. And this way, marketing isn't just generating leads, they're generating the right leads. Throughout all of this too, I kind of want to leave the takeaway here as all these AI tools that we're demonstrating today aren't going to replace you or replace your teams. They're going to be acting as tools for you. One of my favorite things to say is that, you know, AI provides the context. It analyzes for patterns. It empowers us with instant insights that we can then act upon. So with that in mind, let's talk about how this gets interesting for sales teams. Sales Workspace, which I'll show you in a few moments here, gives reps intelligence-driven priorities, not a random list of tasks, but AI actually saying, call this person now because they just engaged with 3 pieces of content. Deal intelligence, to back that up, provides predictive scoring and risk alerts. So you know which deals need attention before they go cold. No more surprises in your pipeline, right? The end result is solid gold forecasting. It's no longer guesswork. AI analyzes your entire pipeline, giving you predictions based on real patterns. Marketing and sales see the same forecast, the same pipeline, and ultimately the same truth. One of my favorite things to come out of Inbound this year actually is that Breeze Intelligence card that you can attach to any of your objects in HubSpot, contacts, companies, deals, etc. That just gives you an overview of everything that's been happening with that particular person or place or opportunity. Key insight here is that every rep now has the capabilities of your top performer. So with all that said, let's actually take a look at some of these tools. I'm going to pop into Marketing Studio here. And I should note at the top here, my account might look a little bit different from yours. We have updated some of the colors, or we're playing around with the colors. But the side panel here should essentially be the same. If you do not have some of the items here in my menu, you can actually head, if you click the top right here, head down to product updates, and you'll be able to opt into any of the beta programs that I'm about to show you. So with that said, let's head over to marketing here on the side, and we'll head down to Marketing Studio. You'll get a little intro here where you're prompted to look at some of your recent campaigns, check out one of the templates. I'm actually just going to create a campaign here at the top right. I'll be brought to a little AI interface here with a suggested prompt. Create a marketing campaign that will run from now through New Year's, for example, with the primary goal of generating new leads. Campaign should target my newsletter subscribers, for example. And then I can give the AI here some additional context. Maybe I'd like to focus primarily on upcoming holidays, Black Friday deals, and you know, season's greetings, right? Great. So if I click Generate Campaign here, we'll be brought to this whiteboard interface, which I'm a huge fan of. Prior to Marketing Studio, you were kind of working in some disparate tools, right? You're in the campaigns tool, the landing page tool, the email tool, but all of this is now pulled into one convenient location here. You can actually switch between, at the top here, this canvas style view, the calendar, a board view, or a table view, as you're likely used to with deals or any of your other index pages. So with this prompt that I've given Marketing Studio, it's actually generating some content here for me, a LinkedIn post, an ad campaign. It might bring in an email for me. Yep, holiday deals email, a campaign page, a lead capture form. Love all of this. You can actually zoom in and move around on this board, adjust some of the additional context here if you want to update your campaign brief. I can also connect and move around these cards. Let's say I want my LinkedIn post to direct to a blog post, for example. I can just draw a little arrow there. Ultimately, I'm going to get everyone filling out my form, so I can add a little arrow there. But all that's to say, you can add in any of your marketing assets that you've created in your account. Let's say you already have a marketing email in place. You could select the content from your account, create new content right here in the interface, or generate content just as Marketing Studio did for me. Now, super cool, saves a lot of time. I've talked to a ton of different marketers who are like, wow, you just, shaved off hours of my day, right? All of this content generation here really is backed by your brand voice, which I mentioned earlier. I'm going to head over to content here on the left and then down to brand. This is where you actually tell HubSpot and its AI therein, this is my brand. This is how I want you to create messaging. Here are my colors and my fonts and my themes. You can also add in, notably, some additional context here, your industry, sub-industry. Could add in some customer sentiment here, literally just copy pasting in your NPS scores from surveys. Could add in your tech stack here if you have any social responsibility that you want to add in. All of this context gives HubSpot a good idea of, all right, here's how I'm going to be generating content, messaging, and campaigning on your behalf. So a few amazing tools to work with on the marketing side. What happens when we get those qualified leads into HubSpot? Great question, Aaron. Let's head over to the sales workspace here. I'm in a different portal, but when you head over on the left to sales, just click sales workspace. You'll see a summary for yourself, the user here at the top. And then the main thing I want to point out here is if you head down, there are a few guided actions based on activity that has taken place in your database. So for example, I've had some new leads assigned to me here. I think there is one. Contacts from your target accounts have shown engagement. I can just click this reach out to contacts button here, and it'll bring me to this interface where I see on the right a Breeze AI summary of this contact, what they've looked at. I can see their recent activities, all of their contact information here. I can then, right from the screen, start a call with this individual. I can also switch to create an email if I want to email them instead. I could even just enroll them in a sequence directly from this screen. So essentially, all of those organic leads that are coming in through your marketing campaign efforts are being marked and scored by HubSpot in the background so that they surface here in your sales workspace for immediate follow-up. Super cool. I don't have to go in and sort people by recent activities on my contacts page. It just removes that level of research. I can just dive in here, which is super, super easy to do. I also wanted to point out, if I head over to the deals page here, this is kind of a new interface since Inbound. It's separate from the deals index page in that these are deals that are specific to me. They're my own deals. I can then look at their score here, which is dependent on a few factors. If I hover over this deal score, for example, I can see that the buyer has opened 11 marketing emails. Great, that shows me they're really interested in purchasing. The deal probability is at 90%, 9 days until the close date here. I can also scroll down and see some of these lower scores. And these are opportunities for me to reach out, right? The deal probability increased. There's only one associated contact here. Probability is 20%. I have 24 days until the close date. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to reach out to this person or enroll some of these folks in a sequence, right? To boost engagement. So this scoring factor for both deals and contacts and companies by extension really gives me the context that I need, keyword context, to dive in and do what I need to do on a daily basis. Final thing I wanted to show you, if I head to the sales sidebar here and then scroll down to forecast, there is a new beta program that allows you to opt into AI forecasting. Essentially, HubSpot's going to analyze the past 3 months of historical data of your closed won deals and give you kind of a broad idea of, all right, here's the upper limit of what we're going to close this month, what's most likely, and what's kind of on the lower end here. This brings in, like I mentioned, all of your historical data, and it'll update for you kind of on day 1, 7, 14, 21, 28 of each month. And you can then look down here at the accuracy over time, kind of scored against your team's forecast submission here. So you can see what your team has predicted and then look at the AI forecast average. And as we get to the end of the month here, we can see that it's actually pretty close, 47%. So a great way for all of your teams to see at a glance, all right, here's what we have coming down the pipeline. And if we head back to the sales workspace, we can dive into any deals that really need the human touch, as it were. So let me head back to our deck here. Just wanted to showcase a few numbers for you. I promise these are real. I'm happy to pass along some of the case studies that we've been working on lately. So you can see, we have a 216 increase in organic leads here from Franchise Brokers Association. All that's to say, I kind of aggregated these into one place for you. The bottom line is complete alignment. Marketing finally knows exactly what converts. Sales knows exactly what's in the pipeline. No more finger pointing or silos, right? Like I mentioned at the top, AI does not replace your team. It makes them unstoppable. It's not about having fewer people. It's about making every person exponentially more effective. This is the hybrid team model that you hear flying around in the HubSpot news all the time. Humans driving strategy and AI handling that execution. And it's all available to you today, right? Final thought here that I'll leave you with. Here's kind of an example workflow. This is what Evenbound builds for clients every day, right? Marketing launches a campaign in Marketing Studio. AI immediately scores and routes those leads instantly. Sales receives those prioritized leads with the full context of what they've engaged with. They know what content is consumed, what problems the prospect has, even suggested next actions. You can then use workflow recommended automation for follow-ups, as Shane demonstrated. No leads fall through the cracks. Deal intelligence tracks everything, alerting you to risks and opportunities, as we've seen. Both teams share the same forecasting visibility. Marketing knows what's converting. Sales knows what's coming next. Finance knows what to expect. This is not the future. This is what our customers are doing right now. One platform, one source of truth, complete visibility from first touch to closed deal. Whew, that was a lot. If you have any questions about any of the tools that I have just walked through, let me know. Throw them in the Q&A section. I'm now going to hand it off to John to lead us onward into the future.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Aaron, and thank you, Shane, as well. Lots of great information today. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. For those of you who don't know us, we're Mobileforce. We're a no-code, AI-powered CPQ platform that extends HubSpot into the quoting and revenue execution layer. And so in simple terms, we help sales teams automate quoting, pricing, and approvals without ever leaving HubSpot. And our goal is to remove that last bit of friction, right, between sales, ops, and finance. So everyone's working off the same data, the same process, and moving deals to close one faster and more accurately, which is what all sales and marketing teams want, right? So next slide, Nick. So let's just brief survey here for the audience. So how long does it usually take your team to send a quote? There's a few different options there. Under 1 hour, 1 to 2 days, 3 to 5 days, or don't ask. You can put that down in the comments. It's amazing. We deal with mostly mid-market and enterprise customers, and you would be shocked to hear that some of these multi-million-dollar advanced manufacturing and industrial companies, it takes them days to put out a quote. And there's just so much complexity that goes on behind the scenes that if you don't put this at the forefront of what you're doing and make it a priority, this stuff can just get out of hand. So where customers in today's buying market expect quotes to be turned around in 1 to 2 hours, in some cases it takes days, which is what we're trying to prevent. So completing the ecosystem. So when marketing sells a line, quote, it becomes a turning point. So let's start with what HubSpot users are already doing well, connecting marketing and sales. But what we often see is that alignment breaking down right at the quoting stage. So we've all been there, right? So you get a great lead, you'll look solid, but things slow down. The quoting, pricing, or approvals happen outside of HubSpot. They're in spreadsheets, multiple approvals across many systems, and suddenly momentum drops, right? So Mobileforce was really built to fix that. We make quoting the turning point in the process, not the bottleneck. So by extending HubSpot into the revenue operations layer, we keep quoting, pricing, and approvals all in one connected workflow. So your reps stay in HubSpot, your data stays clean, and your deals keep moving, no handoff delays, no broken visibility. And we like to think of ourselves as the system of engagement, where HubSpot may be referred to as a system of record in some cases. The ERP is a system of collections. We're the system of engagement. We're the quoting layer. We're the service layer, that we have systems and tools to fit that piece to make all systems work seamlessly. So the bottleneck or the breakthrough, let's talk about what we call the final mile problem. So you've invested heavily in inbound lead scoring and pipeline visibility, but when it's time to quote, suddenly we're back to spreadsheets, right? PDFs, disconnected systems. That's where Mobileforce comes in. We eliminate the friction by automating the entire quote process inside of HubSpot. And here's how it works. When a HubSpot deal reaches a certain stage, the Mobileforce CPQ is automatically triggered. It pulls your product, your pricing, your customer data, and instantly generates an accurate branded quote, ties back into HubSpot. That quote stays live and dynamic. You never have to export it, redo it, or chase approvals by email again. And because everything's connected through APIs and webhooks, your existing processes stay intact, whether that's sending an approval to Slack, syncing with your ERP, or even alerting finance. So what used to be a bottleneck becomes a breakthrough moment for your team. Go back.
Yep.
Okay, so let me give you a real world example here. So to make that a real, let's look at a customer story. In this case, it's a company called SportSafe. So before Mobileforce, they were dealing with long quote cycles and constant back and forth between sales and operations. And it was slowing down deals and frustrating everybody involved. So with us, they rolled out a no-code quoting solution directly integrated into HubSpot, and the impact was dramatic. They cut their quote turnaround from days to hours, and they didn't need any IT support to make it happen. Their VP of operations, Alec Wilkins, said it best, right? He said the efficiency and adaptability that Mobileforce brought to our processes is something no other company could offer us. And they shopped around, they told us. So that's the power of no-code fully integrated CPQ. It's flexibility without the complexity. So how does all this connect, right? So let's bring this all together. Think of this as the missing link between strategy and execution. HubSpot already gives you full visibility from lead to deal. Mobileforce extends that through quoting, contracting, and renewals. So when quoting lives inside HubSpot, every team, marketing, sales, finance, can see exactly what's working and what's not. You can track conversion rates, approve bottlenecks, and pricing performance all in one connected system. That's how you achieve what we call connected growth, unifying your revenue operations instead of stitching them together, right, with separate tools, right? So for HubSpot users, it's really the next natural step, completing your revenue ecosystem and turning HubSpot into a true end-to-end platform for growth. And I'm not doing a demo today. I'm probably not the best suited person to do that, but we can definitely send you a video demo after this takes place. And we do have something called Ask CPQ, which is our AI agent that's not being displayed today. But imagine a world where you can have an AI agent estimate what sort of quoting you need to do. It starts monitoring the way that you've quoted customers in the past and looks for repeat examples and can actually quote automatically on the fly for you. That's something that we have. It's in beta right now. It'll be fully launched here soon. So excited about what that's going to offer the CPQ process. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Geraldine, Aaron, and Shane. And I think we'll take questions now. But Geraldine, I'll turn it back to you and Nick.
Yes, for sure. Thank you all. A very informative and helpful conversation. I am just seeing one current question, which Aaron, it looks like you just got to it, but I don't know if you want to chat to it real quick. Jonathan was asking about Marketing Studio Beta and how it's currently closed, but do we have any idea when that will open or if there will be any more beta signups?
Yeah, great question. Thanks, Jonathan, for throwing that in the chat. I just dropped a link to a form for you to fill out. There's a wait list there, but you'll also be notified when it's like fully open. I don't have an exact date for you. I know that's not ideal, but it's in public beta now. I think it's very close to being like fully released. But if you want exact updates, definitely hop on that form for sure.
Awesome. Okay, we also have had a few questions arise throughout the variation of putting these slides together and what we're all hearing within different sales conversations and strategy conversations. So we're going to run through some of those and hopefully help answer some of those. But also, if there are any others, feel free to drop them in the chat and we can look to answer those here in just a few. But Aaron, while we have you, I'm going to start with you. So on the HubSpot side of things, we've seen how predictive lead scoring and deal intelligence can surface the right opportunities at the right times for companies. So can you talk to us a little bit more about how HubSpot's AI is actually learning from teams' closed won deals and data? And maybe an example of how you've seen that working within your processes lately or your team's processes?
Yeah, totally. Great question. Let me drop a link in as well. This how-to article walks through kind of the exact indicators of how HubSpot learns. But as an overview, it's really like buyer intent kind of triggers and deal movement triggers. So it's pulling a lot from not only your historical data, but any activities that have been logged against the deal itself, or any activities the buyer associated with the deal has taken on their end that HubSpot also tracks. So it's pulling all of that context in together. A few tools that I've seen customers use that really help not only surface these high intent deals and opportunities, but also just kind of summarize it and put it into an actionable insight for you, are column insights. The beta for that is called CRM Flexible Views. So if you head over to your product updates and check out that, this allows you to go into your deal index page, look at a column, and then summarize the entire column for every single deal in your index page. So that allows you to kind of see reports that are built for you and insights about, all right, what is driving this momentum. Another tool that I've seen customers use is the Smart Digest, also a new AI tool that gives you an overview of each of your HubSpot objects, so contacts or companies or deals, and just kind of puts together a dashboard for you. So you don't have to go in and do any of that. It just gives you all of these insights right at your fingertips. So again, like getting the context instantly is such a game changer. You don't have to go in and do all of that research. It's just surfaced for you. So a lot of our teams using the AI tools currently are just figuring out ways to get more context, more accurate context, and quicker context.
Sure. Build strategies from there, for sure, and enable it and nurture them a little bit more. So
Totally.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. We did just have one come in the Q&A that I want to touch on. So we have, our deals process is rather manual. Sales reps need to go back and manually follow up or close. Orders are not managed in HubSpot, but flow in the system through the integration. Unfortunately, they're only linked with companies and line items, but not with deals. Any recommendations or ideas on how AI or other automations could help with closing these deals specifically?
What comes to mind for me, I mean, this is one of those situations where you'd probably need to actually have a deeper look at exactly how the integration is set up. But I would imagine there's probably some way that you can associate an order with a deal or with the company. through some workflow. So depending on like the data that's passing back, if there's a common denominator, like some domain tied to it or an order number, I don't know exactly what that would look like, but as long as there's a status that maybe passes back into HubSpot as like orders closed or something like that, you can then automate and say, hey, when the order is processed or closed or whatever, to then close any associated deal. So first you probably have to have one automation that maybe associates the order with the deal, like the order object with the deal object, and then a follow-up one that based on the change of that status, if that's getting passed over, could then close the deal too. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but that's what I'd probably look at first. If you want to like kind of run through this one, feel free to follow up with us or shoot me a note on LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to hop on a call and walk through that one with you.
Awesome. Cool. Let's head over to the Mobileforce side. I know CPQ is a large conversation and there's a lot happening over there. So we've seen clients cut quoting time by 60 to 80%. What specific automations or setup choices usually drive that kind of result? And then how does that speed actually impact those close rates and sales velocities once it's live? Can you chat to that maybe a little bit, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Carolyn. So yeah, that 60 to 80% reduction is absolutely real, right? And it usually comes down to three main automations that I'd like to point out. So the first thing is we standardize the product and pricing logic, so reps don't have to build quotes from scratch. Second, we use templates for proposals and contracts. Those alone take hours every week. And third, we automate approvals, right? So quotes that meet standard deal criteria just flow through without any bottlenecks. Mm-hmm. And once all that is live, the impact is huge, right? Sales teams can respond to customers the same day instead of 3 or 4 days later. And that responsiveness really changes the buying experience. Customers see it, they feel it, they move faster. And one customer told us that their renewal close rate jumped by nearly 20% simply because they were always the first to get a quote in front of the customer, right? So when you remove friction from quoting, deals move faster, and that momentum directly drives higher close rates.
Awesome. And I mean, happy employees there, I'm sure. Lack of friction all the way around. So
absolutely.
Yes. Okay, awesome. And then on the Evenbound side, we obviously have had quite a few. This is why I'm asking this question too, because within recent sales conversations and strategy conversations on my end, we've had to talk about the conversation of how teams don't want to be overwhelmed. So we've had the question come up of, and there may be some use cases for this specifically. So for teams who want to connect everything from lead to quote, but worry it'll be too complex, how do we look to help make that automation scalable without overwhelming their ops teams?
I think the honest answer is that you need to do this in a phased approach. So any project can be very daunting if you say, oh my gosh, like everything needs to be connected. It's going to take a year or whatever. It's okay to break things down. So something that we do is we operate out of flight plans, like a 90-day sprint, essentially, where we'll break down like, hey, what are some of the largest problems? Let's figure out which one is maybe the most pressing, or potentially like the lowest hanging fruit. We could look at things through a couple different angles and decide if let's say like marketing, right? Like there's just no marketing context coming in or anything like that. And then the sales and qualification part is kind of fine. We need to figure out how can we drive more context into your database. Or on the flip side, let's say that like marketing is fine, sales handoff is fine, and then we just don't get any deals that actually close. Then I'd say let's look at a project where we figure out your sales pipeline. Are you missing data in deals at different stages? I've worked on a project. One that comes to mind is last year. I helped a consulting group essentially put conditional logic in all their deals where data had to be entered in before it could move forward into like the next phase. So that's a really powerful thing where you can maybe automate some of that data entry, but then if you just have team accountability where people know that they have to move deals forward, but they can't if they don't enter in specific pieces of data, that may help resolve some problems. So a couple different ways of handling it, but definitely phased approach. If you try to tackle everything at once and like do some stuff in marketing here, some stuff in sales here, you oftentimes might be spinning your wheels a little bit.
There will be no clarity in that chaos.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, and then one more just came in for the CPQ side of things. So Jeff asked, how is the CPQ different than the HubSpot's API for NetSuite, which provides line items and pricing?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to answer that a little bit. I'm not the most technical person in the room here at Mobileforce, but I would say, look, there's some differentiators in terms of like, if I think what you're talking about is HubSpot CPQ, or maybe it's something different. Look, I just think
I think that's in regard to that.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's just different use cases for each. I mean, HubSpot CPQ is a fine tool for the right use case. Where Mobileforce lives more up market, I would say, right in the mid market to like middle or low enterprise arena. And it's really just about what type of complexity are you trying to solve? Do you have multiple currencies, multiple price books, lots of rule sets that demand complex setup? If that's the case, like if you need a more complex configuration because your business needs require it, then we're probably the right fit for you, right? But I think like the takeaway here for that is explore your options, look at HubSpot CPQ, look at us, look at a competitor of ours, and then you can do a demo with each and decide for yourself what is going to solve your specific use case. But I would say like there's a tool out there for everybody for the right use case and price point, and you should explore them all.
For sure. Awesome. Okay, Nick, if you want to click over to the next slide, just a quick touch base on this one. So I'm really hoping that you guys are thinking about what is next for your teams with all the information that we just chatted about today. So this is just a friendly reminder that you do not have to start from scratch. Like I said, we are giving you our playbook here in regards to how Evenbound and Mobileforce have come together to create success for our clients. So hoping that you take this as a huge action item to then internally set up for your teams to enable and get started for proof that it actually works. So like I said, you will have this in your inbox here soon, and there are different CTAs and such throughout for links to the Mobileforce demo. If you guys have questions in regards to that, there is one for booking a free HubSpot strategy session with the Evenbound team. And then there's one too, if you want to meet with both of us right out the gate, there's a dual meeting link on there for you guys to book some time to chat with both of us and understand what that process would look like. So we will be in touch with that here soon. But just this last few slides. So there are a few more resource slides for you. Nick, if you want to click to the next one. So this is just in regards to if you want to get in touch with Evenbound team, HubSpot team, Mobileforce team, links for your disposal there. And then one more touch base on the LinkedIn group. I will have this in our follow-up email as well. So please feel free to join us over there. Stay up to date on future Hug events as we look to head into 2026. And then last slide is to connect with us. So our LinkedIns, everyone you see here, feel free to reach out one-on-one if there are any other questions. But thank you, speakers. Very informative conversation. And if there are any questions, feel free to reach out. But thank you all for attending.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, team.